Imagine being pulled from your home, locked in the hull of a wooden ship, and sent thousands of miles across a freezing ocean with the absolute certainty that you will never return. In the 18th and 19th centuries, British cities industrialized at a breakneck pace. This rapid urban expansion bred severe poverty, and with that poverty came a sharp spike in crime. To maintain control, the courts responded with extreme severity. Judges handed down life-altering sentences for infractions as minor as stealing a loaf of bread or forging a signature. This chart shows the immediate logistical nightmare the government faced. Arrests spiked exponentially, instantly blowing past the maximum capacity line of every available mainland prison. They physically ran out of space to lock people up. Instead of reforming the laws or building new facilities, the British government looked at a map. They decided the most effective way to handle the crisis was to remove the convicted from society entirely, shipping them to the edge of the known world. The official bureaucratic term for this mass exile was transportation. To reach these distant colonies, prisoners endured a brutal sea voyage that dragged on for months inside the dark, damp holds of overcrowded ships. Survival was far from guaranteed. Dysentery and typhus often tore through the cramped decks, rations frequently spoiled, and the sheer density of bodies in poorly ventilated quarters made the journey a dangerous endurance test. The punishment of exile began at the docks. By putting months of open ocean between the prisoner and their home, the government ensured that the moment a ship left harbor, the prisoner was effectively removed from the world they knew. Looking at this map, massive transit routes trace from London to the Australian continent. In 1788, Australia absorbed tens of thousands of convicts. Tracking closer, this system became a vast engine of forced labor, raising colonial infrastructure and expanding the empire's reach. The prisoners were put to work immediately. They quarried the stone and felled the timber to construct the government buildings, the docks, and the homes for the colonial officials who oversaw their exile. Britain effectively solved two problems at once. They cleared out their mainland slums and simultaneously engineered a captive, involuntary workforce to build a lucrative empire on the other side of the planet. This map tracks even further east, zooming out from the Australian mainland and plunging into the vast emptiness of the Pacific Ocean to pinpoint Norfolk Island. This tiny speck was the extreme endpoint of the penal network, reserved for those the empire deemed irredeemable. The daily reality here was designed to break the human spirit. Prisoners survived on starvation rations while enduring grueling manual labor from dawn until dusk, all under the constant, heavy surveillance of colonial guards. There were no high stone walls needed here. The geography itself did the work. The sheer isolation of the island and the violent, unpredictable surf acted as an impenetrable natural barrier against any attempt to flee. Yet even under these extreme conditions, the men imprisoned here organized protests, sabotaged equipment, and attempted desperate escapes by stealing small boats to brave the Pacific. Norfolk Island was the ultimate expression of the exile policy. It was a physical and psychological void, deliberately engineered to sever a human being entirely from the outside world. Back in Britain, public tolerance for this system eventually fractured. Social reformers began documenting the brutal conditions of the colonies, heavily criticizing the inherent cruelty of transportation. Slowly, the political consensus shifted toward concepts of rehabilitation and domestic justice. Under mounting pressure, the British government finally halted large-scale convict transportation. The official policy was written out of law, and the island settlements were slowly abandoned. But the massive physical infrastructure built by those exiled laborers, these towering sandstone walls and empty cell blocks, still stand by the water's edge today. These ruins hold a difficult history. Every weathered stone and arched entryway is a quiet record of starvation, endurance, and forced labor. They remain as permanent proof of the lengths the British Empire went to preserve its social order. Rather than face a domestic crisis, the state used extreme geography to hide its failures and permanently alter the lives of thousands.